Okay, so welcome to the first video of All Things IBL. I'm Bigfoot, your host, and this whole season we're just gonna be taking a look at some fun little statistics and and some hot takes, of course. But this first video is gonna start off with the top 20 players lists, in my opinion. So, I think we're gonna start with our honorable mentions. We have Kukathy for Hang 10. And Mind Lover for Serpentine, and Twitchy for Hang 10. I do think Kukathy and Twitchy have been incredibly good supporting roles for Duzum, and that is one reason for some people calling Hang 10 one of the best teams in the entire league. Okay, so our number 20 spot goes to Cycle Destiny of Nightmare. I think he's been their front runner in their IGL and crossbow kit, so I think he is really important to their wins as a team, and right now they're currently, I believe they are undefeated right now. Let me double check. Okay, so currently Nightmare is sitting at 2-1, which is a pretty good record considering they've played some of the better teams in the league. Okay, next up we have Apple for the Femme Fatales. Apple has been a really good contributor and just doing the little things that contribute to wins, just really playing the way that Femme Fatales need her to play has really helped them out. Okay, next up we have T-Snaz for Cooking with Grease and Zenroll. I think they're both a really good supporting cast for Brunted, who's been able to really blossom into a true star this season, who we'll get to later. Okay, number 16 might be a little biased, but it's me, Bigfoot, for the Tavern. I think we've had a little shaky season just because we're a bunch of new players. We only have one returning player, and that's Dudachu, who we literally acquired 3 days ago as of recording this video. But I do think, I also have 4th in the kills leaderboard. So I do think that I've been playing pretty well for my first year, but I think 16 is a solid spot for me. Okay, next up is Monkey Nick for Nocturnal. Nocturnal's obviously starting off incredibly well this season at 6-0, beating some of the best teams, having some of the best games to watch. And I think Monkey Nick is a big reason why. Just his skill in sword PvP and his battle box IQ have really contributed to Nocturnal's wins. Next up we have Mahi, my teammate, from the Tavern. I think Mahi's been really able to just gel with anyone he plays with, and really been able to make other people around him better, including myself. Okay, next up we have Tormood from the Street Sharks. I think that a lot of people sleep on Tormood, and he's one of the better players. He's probably the best player on the Street Sharks, at least in my opinion. From when we played them last, I think he was their most impactful player that really got them those wins. Next up, we have Deep, or Deeper MC, from Nocturnal. Deep is another extremely skilled Minecraft player who I often fear whenever time I'm in a game with him. But yeah, I think Deep is really good and can pretty much play with anyone. And has been he's usually the number 1 player, but he's had to play with some of the other people that we'll get to it soon, which makes him really good as a great third frag. Next up, we have Marie from Femme Fatales. I think another Femme Fatales player. We're going to see a lot of them in this list. I think their team is just, as a whole, can just adapt midway through a game, and that's just because of their insane chemistry and skill that they can kind of get away with some of the things that people didn't really think was possible in the IBL. Next up, we have Floofy Flame of the Arctic Guards. I do think the Arctic Guards are off to a little bit of a shaky year so far, but I do believe that they have potential, their current team. And I think Floofy Flame is a big reason for that. Next up is Aquatra from the Femme Fatales. I do think, aside from that quadruple kill with that TNT, that could have gone on the Twitter, Aquatra has been insanely helpful for Behavior and other players on that team that have been Aquatra's, I don't know if I'm right, but I think Aquatra's been their healer and kind of their the backbone of that team. Alright, number 8, we have Beeper from the Tavern. I do think, everyone has seen a Beeper clip so far. He's is insane with cobwebs, insane with TNT. Probably the most unique player in the IBL. and also a mute. So I do think it's really amazing for him to. He's really blossomed into one of the stars of this league. Okay, next up, number 7 is Duzum from Hang 10. I think that Duzum has just been like incredibly valuable sharpshooter player for Hang 10 and one of probably the biggest reason why they're playing so well this year and have beaten all these like incredible teams. Next up is Brunted out of Cooking with Grease. I think Cooking with Grease is off to an insanely great start. So I do think Brunted has really like came in this second year role and kind of just evolved into a whole nother level of a player. Number 5 is Smashy from Serpentine. I think that Smashy is one of the best crossbow players in the game. And I just think that he's like so adaptable, so smart when it comes to battle box, and so skilled when it comes to crossbow. Okay, next up is Behavior from Femme Fatales. Behavior is incredibly skilled, probably another one of the top 3 crossbow players, maybe, arguably. And like probably the reason why Femme Fatales has been doing so well. Next up, we have Mass Marvelous from Rat Tactics. Everyone knows Mass. Everyone knows 1v4s. Everyone knows the crossbow skill, the quick thinking, the insane IQ. There's no need for more. Number 2 is Cammy, who I think is a really Cammy or Kami. I think a really slept on player in this league. And Cammy's been like almost as good as Koi. And I think when everyone thinks of Nocturnal, they think of Koi and Deep, but I really don't think Cammy gets enough appreciation for like the stuff he does in those games and like how he really contributes. And number 1 is pretty self-explanatory. X-Koi, probably the frontrunner for MVP. Insanely good, high tier 3 sword, top 3 crossbow player in the game, easily. Just like on a different level when it comes to the IBL.